Good evening all, it's shopping bag. You see, this stuff didn't come in through the post. No, I went to Watford today and I bought all this stuff from PoundWorld and Wilko and Clas Ohlson. So let's take a look at it all. Now, of course, this isn't any old shopping bag. This is a Christmas shopping bag. And most of it is to do with lights, LED lights, I suppose it's going to be. So first is this Christmas plaque. This came from the pound shop. I did look at LED lights in the pound shop, but the ones they were selling for £1 were all a bit, well, naff. So the plan with this is to drill some holes at various positions on here, probably 3mm holes, and then put 3mm LEDs through. Now on the reverse, because it's got this nice sort of reverse moulding, these positions here in the leaves and up the other side there and there, I think we'll take AA battery holders, so I can get 4.8 or 6 volts if I use alkalines. And then what I'm thinking of doing is creating these LED strings which will have not only flashing LEDs, but hopefully a sequenced movement of LEDs and colours. And I'm hoping to do that without any clever stuff like a microcontroller. I just want to do it with really simple transistorized electronics. So I'll do a video where I convert this Merry Christmas plaque at some point. Okay, next up is this cordless Christmas tree candles. And it has a remote control with an on and an off button. These are LED, of course. They each take an AA cell. This was pretty extravagant, actually. This one was £20, but it's not surprising when you see what's in it. No messy wires to stop you from decorating your tree. 16 LED lights with remote control. Now, it uses 16 AA batteries sold separately. They don't come with it, and that's because each candle has an AA battery. So I think this thing would be quite fun for a teardown. Here's the remote control. Takes a CR2032 or something like that. You press on and all the lights come on. Well, no, not quite. Press it again and some more lights come on. The point is, this is putting out infrared, and these all have receivers, but some of them sometimes don't see the commands, which is quite fun, probably partly due to this overhead light. But I think that's really excellent. When I was a kid, that would have really annoyed me, that it doesn't always turn them all on. But now I just think it's fabulous. Now, of course, these aren't wired together. They're all completely separate. They're all completely independent. Infrared, remote control, and each one takes an AA battery. It's brilliant. 3 flickering candles from Wilko. Not quite sure why I bought this. I just couldn't resist. I think it was because it was only £3 and they're quite sort of, well, big. They flicker very similarly to the tea lights I looked at a while back, but the flickering is a bit different. Let me get one out. Yeah, the little tea light, which was also Wilkinson's actually, but must have come from a different factory, probably has a different LED in it. That's sort of flickery. This one's a bit more obvious. It kind of switches on and off. I don't know, it's not quite so sort of smooth as that. Let me turn the lighting off. I don't know, that just seems to have a better flicker. This one has bigger brightness changes and it's just not quite as convincing. Might be worth putting those on the scope and comparing them. This one came from Clas Ohlson, I think. USB powered string light. I mean, is USB now so ubiquitous that everywhere you look there's a USB power port or a power bank? Yeah, probably. So you could dedicate a power bank to your string of Christmas lights just for, I don't know, the month of December, I suppose. So this is a simple string of 7. They're just colour changing LEDs. I thought these could be driven directly off 5 volts. So I'm not quite sure why there's an enormous great resistor, presumably in the first one. Red, black, what's that? 20 ohms is that? Why have they got a 20 ohm resistor in there? That's really weird. Right, let's power them up. Now, of course, they start all synchronized because the chips boot, they're all the same chip, so they start off at red. and then they fade to green and blue. But of course, each chip has a separate resistor capacitor, we assume, oscillator on it, and they all run at slightly different speeds. In fact, the speeds probably vary quite a lot. One already seems to be drifting away from the others. So give them enough time and they all completely go out of phase with each other, which is far more interesting, of course. You get them all at different stages of the cycle. So let me just leave that for a couple of minutes and then come back. Right, okay, these have all kind of drifted out of phase with each other now. So we're getting some nice combinations of greens, blues, yellows, reds, purples. They're really nice colours, these. They're kind of almost like pastel shades. They're not really intense. I'm not sure whether that's the LEDs themselves or whether it's these sort of star filters that are on them. But they're lovely colours. Let's just turn the light off. Yeah, I really like those. There are only 7, but that's a nice set. I bought this because I wanted to just use them as a sort of comparison of the different techniques that you can use to get a multitude of colours on a 2-wire cable. I think I've got 3 examples of this. This, of course, is one of them. Now, these are things I wouldn't normally go for because I'm not into sort of pretty ornament type stuff. But they were doing a 3 for 2 offer, get 3 things for the price of 2, so I had to bulk up. Those are nasty, those offers, aren't they? They always catch you out. Interestingly, these take the CR2450 cells. It's quite a big cell in there. I'm not sure why they've gone for that big cell. Maybe they just don't run for very long. This one particularly intrigued me because inside there somewhere, yeah, there it is. There's a resistor. What's that? Orange, black, 30 ohms is that? A very visible resistor. This one has colour changing LED and another CR2450. A big lithium coin cell. Right, these are nice. 20 moldable lights. I think moldable means that you can bend the wire. I'm pretty sure that this is enamelled copper wire. You've got like a copper coloured enamelled coating, and then this one is a silver coloured enamel coating. And what they've done is really quite sweet. On the silver colour wire, it's a cool white, and on the copper colour, it's a warm white. That's really nice. Now, interestingly, the LEDs on these are little blobs. Actually, I'll get in a bit closer. Yeah, I think what's happened is someone has painstakingly soldered little surface mount LEDs across the 2 pieces of enamelled copper wire. They're all in parallel, of course. But yeah, I think this is the first implementation of surface mount Christmas LED lights. If I switch that on, that's probably going to completely overwhelm the camera. Yeah, it kind of does. But yeah, I think those are surface mount LEDs. Nice. And finally these. Now these were quite expensive, I think, about 12, 13, 14 pounds per box. One is a string of 80 cold white LEDs. Now I was going to get the warm white, but they were just really nowhere near as bright. These are much brighter, the cold white. So I thought I'd go for that. That was free really because this was again on a 3 for 2 offer. But this one's really intriguing. So I'm going to open this one up right now. So in here, if I can open it, which I can, we've got a power supply, which is quite interesting. It's a UK plug. Yeah, all looks legal and properly spec'd. And then that screws on there. And then there's a plug, a 2-pin plug that fits in there. It's keyed, so it's DC, polarized. So here's the string of 80 lights. Let's get in a little bit closer. So from that mains power block, we've got the cable running into this controller here, which has got 9 modes. I'll go through those a bit more. But then there's a pair of wires, no, not that one, this one, which goes to a long lead, which means that you can plug the mains indoors and have these outdoors. And then the string of LEDs. But look, there's only 2 wires. 2 wires running down there. And all of these LEDs are in parallel, 2 wires going in, 2 wires coming out. Presumably one of them somewhere will be on the end and it will just have the 2 wires going into it. But yeah, they're all in parallel. So how are they getting all these patterns? Interesting. Right, let's actually plug these in. I've got some mains here, so I'm going to plug that in. And they are colour switching through quite a number of different colours. They're all locked together, they're all synchronised. But we've got red, purple, sort of greeny blue, blue, green. How is that being done over 2 wires? Is there actually data coming down these wires? What's going on? Now we can see that these are RGB LEDs, because if you look at the light at the bottom of the LED at the base, you can make out blue is on the left, green is in the middle, and when it goes to red, that's on the right. So there are 3 LED dies, or LEDs on a die, or whatever it is. But how on a 2-wire power line are they sending the signals to change the colour? That's really interesting. Now these aren't regular colour change LEDs, because they would have long since gone out of sync by now, and they haven't gone out of sync, they remain in sync. Let's try another pattern. I think that's number 3, blue light, so it's just blue light only, green light only. These aren't very good patterns actually. Cyan light only, red light only, purple pink light only. That looks like the red and the blue LEDs are on. Light cyan light only. That's fairly obviously all 3 LEDs are on and off. In fact, the only 2 patterns are really 1 and 2. Colours fading. There's a funny jump on that one. And then, yes, they do fade. So they've all gone green. But again, they're synced. So these are not regular RGB lights with the internal chip creating the sort of timing, because they go out of sync, and they're not going out of sync. And of course, you know, they can't be regular RGB lights because they have to respond to whatever is coming down this 2-wire interface to either the colour fade or the colour change. How does it work? I mean, at a guess, what I'll do is I'll do a video on these where I'll put the scope actually on these 2 wires. Probably best way to do that, yeah, is to open this thing up, if I can open that up. Open up that box and look at the output pair of wires that's going in parallel to all these LEDs. But I'm just wondering whether these LEDs respond to removal of power. That's what I'm thinking. They're powered up. If you very briefly remove power from them, they might just go to the next stage. Now, of course, they'd have to have a little bit of capacitance in there so that that removal of power didn't cause them to reboot and always go back to the same starting point. Is that how they work? I honestly don't know. I mean, the only way we're going to find out is to, as I say, put the scope on them. Now, something interesting happened when I was in the shop. They had one of these strings of lights set up. This is actually a picture from inside Clas Ohlson. And one of the LEDs had gone out of sync with all the others. So if that's possible, and I suppose if I left these on long enough, I might be able to get that effect. Is it just sending a simple pulse down saying change to the next colour, and it happens rapidly for the fading and slowly for the switching, but even that doesn't quite work. Is it possible that one of the LEDs could, if it missed a pulse, go out of sync with the others? And clearly that's what had happened here. But how long these had been on in the shop, they could have been on for weeks for that one pulse to get missed. But yeah, that one's red and these 2 are blue. Just fascinating. So that was the multicoloured ones. Now let's just have a quick look at these cold white ones, because they're also fairly interesting. So these look similar. You've got the 2-pin plug there again, a long sort of lead out wire so that you could take them outside. But these aren't necessarily in parallel, or are they? There are actually 3 wires running down the line. Now, if you look at the 2 wires going into the LED and 2 coming out, you could suppose that they might be in parallel. Then if you look at another 2 wires, you might think that they're all in series. So are they in some sort of strange series parallel connection? Interesting. Well, here's a possible clue. On the multicoloured LEDs that appear to all be in parallel, the secondary appears to be 5 volts. The other power supply, this is the one from the cold white string, has an output of 31 volts. So clearly there's going to be some amount of seriesing LEDs. I mean, maybe if you seriesed 10, you could spread that 31 volts over 10 LEDs and get 3 volts per LED. So are they in groups of 10, 8 groups of 10, a sort of series parallel arrangement? I don't know. Have these got the same connector? They're very similar. You wouldn't want to get those mixed up, would you? So these are some of, because I can't fit them all on the desk, today's shopping bag items. So I think it's fair to say that you can expect quite a few Christmas themed LED related videos throughout December probably. Now, shall I, no puppets today, but shall I tack on a bit of robot build? I have got an outro all prepared. Yeah, I'll stick it on the end. So, cute sunlight, solar robot, science and education DIY robot, assembly and instruction. Cut the plastic parts when they are required. Do not cut them in advance. Oh. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed that video, there are a couple more up here which you may like to watch. If you want to subscribe to my channel, then click my face. And this icon here takes you through to my other channel, Julian's Reviews. Like or dislike using the buttons below. Cheerio.